Good evening. How's everybody doing?
Pretty good.
Good, good. Well, thank you all for joining for our first session of Vampire the Masquerade, Savannah by Night. We're going to start with just a few little announcements and acknowledgements. First of which, to Aaron for letting us, rather specifically letting me do this on his stream. And he knows my dark brand of humor, and it's not for his Minecraft or his Christian Minecraft server. So thanks, buddy. And D&D will be resuming next week with our Age of Myth campaign. For anyone that's new here, it's our pseudo proto ancient Greek romp around the Hellenic world as we try to ancient aliens our way through the world. Just you tune in. It's getting pretty wild. We're going to Sparta with some lesbians. It's a good time. That's just as you do.
Sounds great.
Now some important notes. This is a game, for those of you that don't know, that has some heavier themes. For some of you watching, it may get a little too much in places, and if you need to take a break or just go watch something else, we understand. It's not for everyone. But if at any point any of the players, after we've had many discussions, find something is a little against their comfort levels, they can always hold up their hand and say, I'm not happy with the scene, or can we fast forward to this, or can we edit it entirely, and we will work accordingly. While I try to treat VTM with a certain amount of enjoyment for the darker themes, I don't enjoy darkness as a story. I like it to punctuate what's there. I want people to enjoy themselves by letting things get a little dark here and there. Now, further acknowledgement is for Smoggles and KittyCrafto for doing so much technical work behind the scenes for this, specifically Smoggles for producing what you're seeing right now, and Kitty for doing a lot of the video promo and intro that you're about to see in a few minutes. So give them all the love. Kitty, if you don't mind putting your links in chat when you get a chance.
Sure.
And for anyone that wants to follow up on our announcements, knowing what stream is going to happen when, I suggest you look at our socials and find our Discord.
I'll drop Discord in.
Okay. One last little note, and this is a personal one for me. I've been puttering away at this silly little thing for literally over 5 years now. And I'm ecstatic that everyone is here. Sorry, you're going to deal with it now. There was a friend of mine that was meant to be in this campaign, Talitha. Some of you may know her as Spira. She unfortunately passed some time ago, but as a lifelong VTM nerd and obsessive over the concept of memento mori, it seems very appropriate that her character is living on as an NPC in this game that I hope you all at some point get to meet for one reason or another. And if it doesn't happen organically, I'm gonna make it. Because it's my game and I get to. So, unless there's anything else we need to cover tonight, folks, I think it's time we tell a fucking vampire story. Roll that clip. disease, fire, and blood. The unlucky Colony 13 that is Savannah, Georgia, should not exist. Beset on all sides by yellow fever, multiple calamitous blazes, war with the Spanish, war with the British, and finally, most decisively, war with itself, as Sherman's march ravaged its way through the South and shattered the Confederacy, along with its more clandestine residents. Throughout its entire history, there have always been those that operate in the shadows, maintaining a meticulous masquerade of the mundane, so that no one is aware that they live in a world of darkness. A world filled with all manner of creature that go bump in the night. However, given how Savannah is advertised as one of the most haunted cities in North America, perhaps that shroud of secrecy isn't quite as all-encompassing as one might hope. But we'll get to all of that in due time. For now, let us focus on our smaller, more personal stories. Artem.
Hello.
You've long since lost track of time in the darkness of the shipping container you were sealed into. At some point, minutes, hours, days, weeks, they lost all meaning. As the last dregs of your ill-rationed blood bag ran out, and the depths of your hunger truly sank in, the corrugated steel walls began to close in. Your otherwise lifeless heart pounding, screaming in your own ears as that primal other self demands to be fed. As your insides rake and claw at the inside of your own ribcage, the world falls away. You don't know how long you drifted off. All you feel is an intense agony in the pit of your stomach, your hands feeling as though you've run them through a wood chipper. You come to consciousness as something finally changes. The harsh, deafening scrape of metal on metal as the door to your shipping container is wrenched open from the outside. The influx of fresh air, the wash of dim light. You can finally see why your hands are on fire. All around you, the steel walls are ravaged with thin yet ultimately ineffective rivulets of claw marks. Flecks of paint and metal shards stick under your fingernails. Both hands appear red and raw, as though they're missing several surface layers of skin. You see a shape silhouetted in the finely opened doorway, and you hear the beginnings of what sounds like Russian. And you're too weak to move. Before we get to how you react to this, can you describe your character for us?
Sure. Artem is a fairly tall, fairly attractive Ukrainian man, brown hair, very short. He looks like a professional athlete, but that maybe spent a month not eating as much as he should have. Still very dangerous, and at this moment, probably a little bit feral.
As you are too weak to really move and react to the situation, the voice gets louder to get your attention. Yes, are you in there? It's knocking loudly on the steel.
Can I talk?
Weakly, but yes.
Oh, who is it? I'm in here.
Lurus, go get the bag. The source of the voice walks closer towards you and crouches down. He's not physically examining you as much as visually. You see short cropped ash blonde hair and beard, black suit pants, white dress shirt with suspenders, sleeves rolled up slightly, and you can see the myriad of tattoos and scroll work from the back of his hands up his arms. He does grab your chin and turn you from side to side, looking for you don't know what. Where did you come from?
If
I am going to have that man killed.
please,
I take it you haven't eaten in some time then, yes? If I give you something, you're not going to do anything stupid, are you?
what would I do?
Good answer. The other man, who just looks like a thick paving slab, brings in what looks like a cooler bag of some sort, opens it up. The man in front of you reaches in, takes out what you got before you were loaded in here looked ramshackle. It was barely more than a Ziploc bag. This is an actual, from a hospital, blood bag, complete with the sort of looping IV line, or as some people call it, a big old crazy straw. He takes it and he goes, "Yes, no, can you do this on your own?"
Yes.
Good man. He lifts your hand, claps it in there, and lets you figure it out.
I think I'm going to forego the crazy straw and just go
Hmm.
straight for the teeth in the bag.
Efficiency, good. Good plan.
Gets to about halfway. Excuse me. Has he been speaking Russian this whole time?
Yes, but in that way where Russian and Ukrainian overlap enough that you're communicating.
So this is Georgia.
Ah, not the one you're thinking of, maybe.
What is? Okay. Which one is it?
Have you ever been to America before?
Are you are you serious?
He shares a look with the other man. He just, yeah, we're going to have to kill that one. He's a fucking asshole.
Can I help?
You know, I might enjoy that. But tonight, you have other more pressing appointments.
There's a Georgia in America.
Oh, it's going to be a long, long night for you, my friend.
Is he kind of looks around. I'm not. Is there anyone else?
The only one on my docket tonight was you. Were you supposed to be with someone?
Yes.
Tell you what. You behave. You go with Bruce here. Do as you're told. I will look into it for you. And if it's the same piece of shit that caused this problem, oh, you and I are going to have some fun.
Okay. It wouldn't happen to be, and I give a physical description of the guy.
That sounds about right.
Oh, good.
He reaches down, clasping your wrist, the old Hail Warrior style. Misha Sokolov.
Artem. Jovic.
The slab walks over. Bruce Hauser.
Artem. Jovic.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Go with Bruce. I have to make some other calls. And you are not my only appointment this evening.
Good luck.
I'm not the one that's going to need it. Bruce grabs your other hand, and you're like paper to him. You are lifted back onto your feet. And you're by no means a small guy. Come on, I'll take you where you gotta go. You ever been to Elysium before?
I've never been to America before.
Oh, shit. Okay. Off we go. And he's going to lead you to an older, kind of nondescript sedan. And unless you have any immediate thoughts to share, we're going to pan out to someone else.
I do want to ask Bruce,
Yes.
how much of that did you understand?
I don't know. It's fucking Russian. I don't get it.
All right, let's go.
And he floors it, and off you go. As you leave, you are exiting a large seaport, not unlike the one you left in, but in far better repair. As we fade out from you, we fade in on Cora. There is a gentle knock on your sleeping arrangements of what, from the outside, looks like a tanning bed, but with far better ceiling. We'll be touching down in Savannah in 30 minutes, Miss Violante, a polite and pleasant voice says, but otherwise leaves you be. Whenever you deign to leave the confines of your Airstream coffin behind, you're able to walk all the way up to the cockpit of the small private jet. As you do so, you see the expansive, lightless void of the ocean you've just crossed begin to finally give way to the burgeoning, dim lights of the historic seaport town that is about to be your new home. It isn't long before you're gently asked to take a seat as the jet takes its final approach of Savannah International Airport. As it touches down, there's barely any drama to speak of at all. The faintest of love taps is the only way you could describe how gracefully the jet touched down. Unlike flying commercial where you are told when and how and what with a polite, firm tone of hurry up and wait, These attendants are already starting to fetch some of your things for you, and the door is open to form that short staircase. Coming to a rest at a more secluded part of the tarmac, there's only one other small private plane a respectable distance away. Waiting for you is a medium high-end sedan of German make. Or is it? You blink and clear the jet lag out of your eyes to see a modern but understated Cadillac. Standing in front of it is a man with dark, shoulder-length, swept-back hair and narrow-rimmed glasses with a well-kept blazer. Would you like to describe Cora for us?
Yes. Cora stands fairly short, but not remarkably so, with a pixie cut of platinum blonde, but like a silvery platinum. Her eyes are green, and her skin is pale, almost ghostly, but well cared for, if not for the permanent dark circles under her eyes. She would look quite healthy. She wears a cream suit with the sleeves rolled up, this blazer, and a top that cuts down in a V with a single button. It's understated, but altogether creates a vision of someone who looks almost like a ghost.
Oh, hello, you must be Cora, yes?
That's right, Cora Violante.
Leland Aldridge. Pleasure to meet your acquaintance.
Likewise.
Your sire called ahead to arrange for a pickup.
He did. That makes perfect sense.
He was quite insistent.
He typically is.
Have you ever been to Elysium before?
I can't say that I have, no.
Oh, well then it pleases me to help you go to your first. Fortunate necessity is declaring oneself in a new city.
Right. I'm familiar with the practice.
If you like, you can ask a few questions while we drive. Could have your things loaded into the car.
Yes, I think that would be great, although I can take care of my own things.
Oh, fair enough. And as that is gradually handled, you find that there are probably more items than can fit in the car, at least in any comfortable way. But he talks with the attendants about where it can be dropped off. He seems to have at least some part of your itinerary well handled.
I'm sorry, I don't have a place to stay arranged. I don't know where you'll be taking all of this.
I'll let the keeper better explain that. Yeah, we tend to adhere to something called Southern hospitality in more ways than one.
Well, then I appreciate it.
Shall we?
After you.
As you drive off the tarmac, while I will be wanting to fade off to another scene real quick, is there anything you want to quickly address?
Cora's going to look in the side mirror of the car and say under her breath in Italian, "No turning back now."
Lovely. As we fade off to the next one. Kate. A little ways down that very same tarmac, another small jet is disembarking to the sound of self-assured heels click-clacking down their pristine steps after a much, much shorter flight. Barely 2 hours from when she left, and not one hair out of place from the journey. Would you like to describe Kate for us?
Yes, Kate is already tall, but the heels that she's almost always found in leave her over 6 feet with their patent leather and noticeable red soles. She is in high-waisted tailored black pants, a black blazer, and a green silk blouse. Small briefcase at her side.
Before her is that same man with the tattooed hands, cropped beard, though now probably wearing a black suit jacket to complement the slacks he was wearing earlier. None of his prior Russian accent makes an appearance as he speaks. Welcome to Savannah, Miss Fulton.
Thank
Misha
you.
Sokolov.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Sokolov.
How was your flight?
Quick.
Good, no problems.
None.
Do you have any questions before we get underway?
I think most of my things were sent ahead to my home.
As I understand it, yes, that has been arranged. I have seen to many of the details, though there are others that were filtered down to them. But I will check in the meantime.
Thank you.
Have you been told where Elysium is yet?
Have I storyteller?
You know you're going to have to go to it, but I don't think the details were given to you.
Not the specifics, but the fact that I do have to go is I'm well aware of.
We'll sort that out immediately. I will take you there myself personally. Do you have any dietary requirements we need to meet before we go?
I ate before I came, so I should be good for at least a little while.
Good. Well, let's get underway then. It's going to be a long night. And as you get into that car and begin speeding off, unless you have anything else you want to add.
I think Kate will check her phone knowing that there's probably not a message because after all, this begins doing it on her own. But she can't help but look just in case.
There's one message. Unlisted number. Certainly not one you've ever seen. And it just says, remember what you were taught. Max. The blistering rumble of a loud, boisterous motorcycle screams in the night air as you pass through from South Carolina and into Georgia via the Talmadge Memorial Bridge, stopping on Hutchison Island. You were told to drive off the main road and look for the stereotypical burning garbage can and loud music of a trashy bush party. It's not hard to find. You saw the distant glow from the bridge as you crossed the water. Veering off northwest from the junction as you hit the island, the bike grumbling as you kick up dirt, venturing towards the shoreline. You see the array of haphazardly parked muscle bikes, both classic and new. Raucous heavy metal playing on someone's face-cracked older smartphone, the clinking of beer bottles, rowdy shoving and laughter. You know you found the rabble you were looking for. Would you like to describe Max for us?
Max looks looks like he's lived his entire life on the road. Greased hair, pretty much unkempt facial hair, and tattoos all across his arm and across his chest. He's the type of person who you don't want to accidentally make eye contact with, and looks pretty quick to anger.
Mm-hmm. As you see this ramshackle, unkempt little party of people that you've been told are your kin, in a manner of speaking, what do you do?
Stroll on up.
Mm-hmm.
See one of them with a beer bottle, and just look over, say, "Got another?"
They were all starting to turn to you as the bike rolled up. Some with more attention than others, but clearly at least paying attention. They all kind of look at you like, who's this asshole?
I
And you
look
s-
out to
Oh,
find out who's the one in charge
Mm.
of them.
They all actually do start to look gradually in one person's direction, and maybe not the one you might expect. A woman around 5'7", 5'8". Long, dirty blonde hair, but pulled back tight, almost like it's been greased back. Leather jacket, leather pants, in a rougher state than maybe most would find photogenic. And she has this incredulous smile on her face. It's like, okay, who the fuck are you?
Max, who the fuck are you?
Jolene, Jolene. If you know to come look for us, you need to come look for me. And the only people that come off of that bridge looking for us are more of mine or dipshit Sabat who think they're gonna cross the bridge. So which one are you? Here for a good time or here for a short time?
Depends which one gets me to Elysium faster.
You want to go there?
I'm looking for someone.
Oh, honey, aren't we all? What's your point?
Look, I was told this is where I needed to go, and I was told I needed to talk to you. You're clearly the one in charge around here. So what? Do I need to grab a few beers, get in a take someone out one-on-one? What needs to happen here?
Oh, now you're speaking our language. All right, trust circle. And it is not what it says on the tin. It is basically monkey in the middle as you're being pushed around. Both of you, not her,
Yeah.
but you and another younger Bruja
Mm-hmm.
are being roughhoused around, being pushed into the crowd, into each other as you're raining haymakers at one another. After a while of you simply not being dropped to your knees like some dipshit who doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground, she breaks it up. Oh, look at that. Buddy doesn't have a glass jaw.
They weren't too bad themselves.
You look over and he's in worse shape. But not in a way that won't heal, but he just looks like maybe you dented in a few ribs and he's just sort of trying to laugh it off because vampires are weird, man.
Max takes out like a like dirty handkerchief and just starts like wiping the blood off of his fists.
And the guy on the ground was like, "Oh, it's gonna be like that, is it? That how it's gonna be?"
Yeah. You want to go one more round?
There's a bit of a like scattered of laughter, but it's more good nature than what it started with in the earlier. Like, okay, fine. You want to go to Elysium?
I want to go Elysium.
All right. Well, get on your bike, pretty boy. Try to keep up. Jolene, don't stop for no man.
Wouldn't expect you to.
And she's already gone.
Ah, shit. No, Max realizes he like parked the bike like a little too far away from the group and has to run a little bit to get on, but quickly starts to gain on the pack.
Poppy. It's been a few fraught nights, having to dart onto a train only to have to hop off a few short hours down the track, find a snack and a place to stay, often one and the same. Wait out the day and then rinse and repeat as you made the frustrating journey south. But finally, the timing lines up and you're on the home stretch. Or at least, that's what you perhaps had thought. As the lights of the city begin to dimly bloom into view, replacing the darkness of the outskirts, there's that sickening thought of what to even do when you get there. You have no idea where to go, or where to even start looking. As she takes those first steps off the train, what is the state of Poppy right now?
Poppy is on the shorter side, quite slender, has more brown roots than she would like to have at the present moment. That fades into some messy blonde, kind of curly hair that somehow just effortlessly creates a beautiful, messy bun that we're all trying to do if you have long hair. She is holding a Coach Jean-Michel Basquiat collaboration bag and a huge puffy neon pink duffel that kind of rattles and makes just kind of like too much noise, and you can tell that she's a little like jumpy because of the noise. She's wearing a vintage Levi's denim jacket that has some hand painted suns and moons on the back, and some kind of distressed on purpose green cargo pants, and some very bejeweled Converse sneakers that kind of glint in the light of the train platform. She looks tired, but she still looks good, man.
So let's bring her down a notch.
Yeah.
Wandering out of the comparatively tiny station into the parking lot of Spider cracked in disrepair, with a cheap and sad-looking used car dealership within view, some part of this feels full circle.
She will.
Go ahead.
No, she's just going to try her best to keep towards civilization, whatever that looks like at this moment. Yeah, just try to find people, I think.
You don't make it very far through the parking lot. If nothing else, because perhaps the desolation is so oppressive that there's just nowhere to go, really. It's hard to even find where to start. A dark, late model Honda sedan rolls up to where you're standing. The window rolls down, revealing a man in his very early 40s with short hair and a 1,000-yard stare. You look like you could use a ride, Miss Stewart.
Who are you?
Another member of the nightlife.
Great to meet you.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll kind of clamber into the seat.
You see a little rideshare sticker on the side of the car or on the window.
Side
Clearly
hustle or?
Maybe we'll talk about that another time.
Sure. Would love it.
As he starts to drive, he looks up at you briefly through the rearview mirror. Do you know where you're going and why? And as he asks the question, he is not aimlessly driving. He's clearly going in a direction.
I think Poppy will kind of chuckle and say, "It seems like you know where I'm going."
I like to think that I help get people to where they're going, even if they don't know that's where they should be.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Don't thank me yet.
Who are you?
He reaches back to tap the rear of the seat where you can see the actual name written on the back, and it just says driver 0616.
Got it.
Now, unless you have any further questions or commentary, can we fade out from here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last but certainly not least, Tabitha. Further up track at the freight yard, another set of cars come to a final rest as they have reached the end of the line. And so too has Tabby. You have been huddled in that corrugated steel box for 2 whole days and nights, with little more than a backpack and a single crimson Capri Sun to sip on to keep you going. Now that you're here, or at least you assume or even hope that you're here, where you're supposed to be. Did you miscount? Did you misunderstand something? It was all very fast and chaotic. Maybe you got something wrong and you're nowhere near where you're supposed to be at all. 2 days from where you left could put you damn near halfway across the country in the wrong direction. As this dread perhaps begins to set in, a sonorous knock interrupts that, well, train of thought. Hey! Hey! I swear to God if this isn't the right car. Is that Tabby in there?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Fucking Christ. Rip, twist, pull this large metallic door out of the way to reveal the dim gloom of a freight yard at night. No one there, barely any lights. And in front of her is another ruined face, not unlike some of the ones that she left behind, but a little more, how do I put this? Properly proportioned to a human size. You good?
No. Surprisingly still on my feet. Yeah. You gotta. She searches into her pockets and pulls out the now very crumbled juice box. You got any more of this?
Yeah, in the car. Come on.
Thank you.
He slams the door shut with no effort at all. It's basically a hand wave. And he brings you to some... The only way I could really describe it is Hillfolk two-tone. It's just rust and primer. And he reaches behind him once you're in the car and puts this little cooler that clearly has seen better days, was probably stolen or reclaimed from a scrapyard somewhere. He lifts it open, and you do see some ice packs and, maybe despite appearances, actual pairs of blood bags.
She looks very anxiously back and forth from the cooler to the individual.
Okay, we're going to try this real quick, okay? Because we don't got a lot of time. He points at you. Tabby. Baxter.
Baxter. Hi.
Blood. Tabby, get blood. We have
Oh
to
my
be
God.
somewhere.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be a shit show of a night. Okay, come on. We gotta go.
Where are we going?
Okay, please tell me you've been to an Elysium before. You know how that shit all
Yeah, I've
works.
been to Elysium.
Oh, thank fucking Christ. Okay, all right. You're gonna be less of a problem. All right, let's go. And unless you have anything else to add.
She tries not to chug it, but it is gone before she wants it to be.
I did say there were two. And I imagine over the last couple of days, she's running a little on empty. Now, we all good? How are we feeling, folks? Ready to see the next chapter?
Good. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah.
So happy so far.
I know. Also, some of y'all got money. I mean,
I mean, I'm feeling pretty okay.
No, this was
So
a pleasant,
good for
it
you.
was a pleasant flight.
Even
Oh,
just the
gosh.
manner
Private
of
jets.
arriving in the city.
Two
Welcome to
days.
Georgia.
All right. Each of you weave through town in your various modes and means. But no matter how you get there, you all arrive at the guarded, wrought iron gates of the Wormslow estate. Briefly, you are stopped by one individual holding up their hand, but he asks nothing. A simple nod from another gentleman to the first, and you are waved in unceremoniously. The headlights of each of your vehicles eerily illuminate the enveloping canopy of weeping willows that line the long gravel road past the gate. Cora, despite that it's evening, you swear you could see a rolling cascade of color shifts, as if witnessing a time lapse of seasonal change. For Artem, you see wild, predatorial eyes peering back at you from the gloom between the trees. Or perhaps your mind's playing tricks on you. Either way, All of you arrive in short order at the front of an old, preserved, massive plantation house, nestled discreetly in the densely forested Isle of Hope. In front of the house is an extensive bank of various and numerous parked cars. As each of you are walked up to the main doors of the house, you see a large, thick-necked man in a well-cut black suit shoulder tap a radio while carefully keeping his eyes on each of you. Your collective escorts all filter inside the building without you, except Poppies, who gets back in his car and drives away. It isn't long before a neatly put together man in a bespoke silver gray suit steps outside, adjusting the tasteful frames of his glasses. Ah, as I do not recognize your faces, you must be new to our fair city. My name is Thomas Atherton. I am the keeper of this Elysium, which, before I permit you all inside, are any of you familiar with the rules of this sort of establishment?
I am.
Yes.
Anyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
I could
But-
use a refresher.
Well, for those that know, would you mind being so kind as to share with your friends here? My apologies. Cohorts. I don't want to assume.
Well, it's imperative that we introduce ourselves to those that rule around here. The prince, of course.
Mm-hmm. That's one part of it. Who else?
Storyteller, could you give me a quick refresher?
I think I'm just
No
going to have him do it in character just for the sake of
Okay.
ease.
Love it.
No fighting under any circumstance.
Oh, very good. Top marks. To add on to that, yes, no violence of any sort, no use of disciplines of any sort. While argument and debate are welcome and even encouraged, you will keep it civil. Decorum is our highest ideal. Any breach of any of these rules can and will bring consequence. Depending on the severity of the infraction, could be a simple slap on the wrist. Though the more serious the infraction, the more serious the repercussion. Does that track with all of you so far?
Yes.
Any other
Yeah.
questions? Oh, very good. Please, allow me to escort you to within the historic Wormslow Estate, Elysium of Chatham County. The oversized plantation exterior belies the elegance of the diligently maintained dark wooden floors, high vaulted ceilings, crown moldings. There are large, lush parlors and lounges, many of which are occupied to one degree or another. More nook-like outcroppings dot here and there. You are led through mingling crowds, some of which pay you some attention, but quickly turn to their conversations. Others ignore you entirely, as they were just another group of people in an already bustling social scene. Others still refuse to take their eyes off of you. You are all brought to an already occupied lounge off to the side of the main hall, where the bulk of the attendees seem to be congregated. Mr. Atherton addresses the occupants of this little lounge. I do so apologize, but this space is required for a special circumstance. If you allow me a moment, I would be happy to show you to another that I think you would enjoy even more. There's a bit of begrudging acquiescence before he gets you all seated. If you would excuse me, I'm going to go make introductions on your behalf. I would ask that none of you leave this space until you are called upon. If any of you require some refreshment, tell me now, and I can have that brought to you in the meantime.
Has Tabby run out of her juice boxes?
Oh, The drive would have been long enough that you're making like the annoying sucking on like ice sound at this point. Even before you got out of the car.
Yes, please.
That's one. Who else?
Yes, please.
Are there any special dietary requirements that we have to be aware of? No, just the two? All right, I'll make sure that that's it. Oh, sorry. Were you going to say something, Iskra?
Oh, yeah. I'll just have your house blend.
Very well. Pre-order's coming up. I'll see to that. Someone should be by shortly. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you.
Authentic plush button-back leather couches and chairs, all angled so that they face out in the main room, especially towards the slightly elevated space at the presumed focal point of the room at the rear wall of the building. The spot is only raised less than 2 feet above the rest of the room, a simple riser platform wide enough for a few people to perhaps present from. However, at the moment, there is a simple wooden chair that looks like it was lifted from a dining room rather than anything too regal. Sitting upon it is, well, perhaps for many of you, a new concept. But before I describe that, would you like to talk to each other?
Yes,
Now,
please.
above the table, I will say there are going to be more formal introductions made in a few moments, so you don't have to get into all the nitty-gritty of things. Leave something to say to the prince in a moment. But please.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I'm Poppy. It's nice to meet you all.
Abby. Nice to meet you.
Max.
Cora.
Wait.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. You in the vest?
Max.
I like
Kate.
your vest. It's a good one.
And Tabby just kind of shrinks and like hunches up in the awkwardness of this initial introduction.
Do you think it's usual this many people show up in one night?
I have no idea.
Oh,
Storyteller,
good.
from my experience, is it rare to have this many newcomers at the same time?
It's not common. It would be more so common in a much, much, much larger city like something, New York or London, something much more metropolitan. But in a comparatively small town like this, it's quite rare.
I would say it's pretty unusual.
Mm.
Did you all just get off the train?
Yes, yeah. I took the Amtrak, which was a lot. Were you also traveling from somewhere?
Yeah. Louisville.
Ah,
Kentucky.
Louisville. Yeah. Very nice. Lots of fun things to do there.
Yeah.
I don't think we caught your name. And I'll look at Artem.
Artem.
Or yours.
Cram. Oh, go ahead.
Looking at Kate, but like then trying to turn away as if she didn't just say it.
Kate.
Cram, are there any windows in this room?
Yes, but high and
Hmm.
like closer to the ceiling.
You can't throw yourself out.
Yeah, I was supposed to say.
Exit points.
Or just-
Don't do social stuff very well, guys.
What's our jump height?
Good question.
Pretty
There is
high.
mechanics for that. We'll get to it later.
For the most part, Tabby, during this interaction, seems to be nervous and distracted. Very much. You could tell that her instincts would be to hide in this moment, but seems visibly stuck in her chair. Trying to meet gazes, but then quick to turn away once they are met.
Hey. To Tabby. Hey.
Hey,
Don't let them intimidate you. If you're here, then that means you're supposed to be here.
Not necessarily.
thanks.
That mean? I'm just saying. I've seen too many get like, and just like not really looking, but like not looking at, you know, the like Kate and Poppy, but like the way that he's kind of like not looking at them says a lot. I've seen too many pushed down by them, so I don't want you to feel pushed down.
Thank you. Also, just to note the appearances, Tabby looks like someone took a person, scratched him out, crumbled him up, threw him against a wall, and then was like, "Oh wait, I need that," and then tried to straighten it out on a table.
Oh, baby.
Very crumbled up, patches and boils, blisters, odd bumps in the skin. And also, in terms of clothing, you can tell that what she's wearing is, in some levels of finance, presentable, but she's been wearing it for clearly a long time. So whatever, if it was nice when she first put it on, it's no longer nice. And so her whole getup is very just disheveled. She's wearing a decent hoodie and like sweatpants.
Love a decent hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
During this time sitting here, Cora has been looking politely at whoever is speaking, her
Mhm.
legs crossed, sitting up, mostly straight, but trying to appear relaxed. But she does keep looking at Tabby more often. And during Max's speech to her, she straightens her blouse a little and makes sure that she is not so focused.
You all do see in, I imagine it's decently well lit in here, kind of poking through the left and right side of her hoodie, they would be nice elf ears, but being a Nosferatu, they're kind of just like, ugh. Like it's not the nice ends, it's like the sides or something. And so you notice that the tips of them have turned somewhat pink as she kind of rewraps herself, but does seem to smile a little bit, certainly after Mike's pep talk.
I think Poppy will turn to Max afterwards and say, "Oh, so have you been to many locales such as this?"
Yeah, I've been around.
I love it. Whereabouts?
Traveled down the East Coast.
Beast Coast. I just came from New Haven. That's what they say up there. It's the Beast Coast.
Storyteller, would I have recognized Max? Many presentations past?
No.
Okay.
There's a lot of East Coast, so
Mm-hmm.
True.
there was a moment where Kate looked like she was going to say something. No? Okay. So as you're getting to the awkward chatter with each other, do you look around the room at all in any way?
Absolutely.
So, I'll first remark on the actual state of the room, which is larger than it should be. And I don't mean like in TARDIS logic ways, but just it seems to take up the bulk of the space, that there had to be some sort of remodeling to accommodate this main chamber in order to have this many kindred wandering about in it. You see, it's difficult to discern if someone looks like a Ventru, a Toreador, a Tremere, or a Malkavian. If anyone's being entirely honest, they all do styles for different reasons. That Venn diagram is more of a circle than anyone would like to admit. So it's difficult to tell who is what. Unless you already know, and then you can infer from maybe who they're gravitating around. But since you don't know that yet, it's all just a sea of people. There are a few, however, Nosferatu, obvious because of what they are, milling around. You see one wearing a more collarless leather jacket, removed from much of the proceedings, talking with a few people. But he seems to do so with a bit of authority and gravitas.
When you say one, do you mean vampire or do you mean Nosferatu?
Nosferatu. Apologies.
We are vampires.
Nah. You see several pockets of people almost holding mini court. People that maybe are sharing stories and gossip. Or some of you might recognize that clique culture all too well.
I think from second, Kate, it's strange not being out there.
I imagine in many ways this is very much her scene. Maybe not exactly, but enough to at least know how to work with it, expand. For Poppy, I would say it's a little more innate to recognize some of your own kind, especially when you already know them.
Nico?
You see a head sort of just pop up the far side of the room, and he just goes,
Hi.
you can't hear him from where you are, but he's
Yeah.
just, it's that almost telepathic thing, like when kids see each other at like a theater or a concert or something like that, that didn't expect to run into each other and just, you're here, I'm here, what do we do?
Yeah. Her internal monologue is just, thank fucking God.
I imagine it's a
Someone
little
here.
like David Tennant and Catherine Tate when they see each other through the glass and they're just,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
from much further away.
Yeah. She'll
But-
make like we'll talk later kind of gesture.
And he's just, as if he's trying to pretend that he understands the hand hieroglyphics that you're doing.
Yeah.
He's like, he'll figure it out later.
Oh, that's a friend of mine that I met a long time ago at this point.
Oh, you all saw that display, by the way. If you wanted to react to that.
Were we the persons in that same Doctor Who scene just going?
Yep. Oh, I'm sorry. Are we interrupting?
Yeah.
No one else was talking.
During all the interlude and such, the refreshments are brought. Now, for those of you that had received blood bags from your respective rides, these are more like proper wine glasses with a little bit of the good claret poured in. The gentleman that brings it to you is dressed like a waiter of some sort. And most importantly, acts like a waiter. They simply drop off the drinks, ask if there's anything else that you need, before scuttling off politely and quickly.
Artem is looking at his glass incredulously, not quite sure what to make of this development. Decides to roll with it. He gives it a sniff, a little swish. Probably doesn't swish as well as the proper liquid, but
No, it's a little syrupy, I imagine.
what does he smell?
Ah, yes, for you in particular. You, more than anyone else in the room, or at least in this group, I would imagine, would pick up on the fact that it isn't just one scent. This seems to be more of an intentional melange of blood types, blood sources, in order to intentionally, well, obfuscate the source. To make it broadly palatable while not... Well, for Kate, you would know it's good habit to mask where some of these things come from in order to either protect a donor or protect your sources. But for Artem, it's more of maybe a confusing bouquet that doesn't necessarily mix well together for the scent. And given all the, not necessarily opulence, but attention to detail going on right now, maybe you're not getting the best vintage. And Kate would know that it's not an insult, say, to a particular clan, as much as you're new, we don't know who you are, we're not going to the top shelf yet.
Well, he's gonna tip his glass towards Cora and say, "A house blend."
Yeah. Yes, it's that's nice. Interesting. But nice. And really, I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot of each other, so to friendly faces.
You're here.
For Cora, for a moment, you're not holding the glass. You're holding a familiar arm. Not disembodied, but more just sort of trailing off into the haze.
I'll try to be gentle.
Do we hear her say that?
Do they hear you say that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
But in German.
I
Good.
love that.
Yes. Spacing off and saying something in German has never worried anyone.
Das Vidanya.
That's Russian.
That's Russian.
I don't know. Leave me alone. I didn't
Question.
study.
Tabby tries to respond in Russian.
Hmm.
Graham, is there any chance that Poppy would have picked up a little bit of German?
Not enough to be
No.
useful here.
Okay. Cool.
As in this slight reverie, when you go to take your drink, expecting sensation of flesh, fresh warmth as you steal someone else's blush, you're once again sipping the glass.
Like I said, it's a interesting blend.
So, are you from Germany then? Or do I even understand that that's German?
I would say it's not very difficult to discern certain languages.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know what they're saying, but you're like, that's German.
Yeah. So you from Germany then?
I lived there for many years. Well, yes, and I guess I should say. I lived
Huh.
there and then I lived there.
Oh,
Oh.
yes. Before and after.
Hmm.
And you said, and turns to Artem and he goes, and you said you didn't intend to be here.
Story for another time.
Great. We'll spend that time doing something else.
Well, do any of you have any other little questions or probes you want to try in this moment?
Poppy's watching Kate out of the corner of her eye and clocking the shoes, clocking the outfit, all of the just cool stuff she's got going on. But she's trying to keep it discreet.
Kate is observing everything.
Hmm. You know what? Just for shits and grins, let's make this our first roll of the night.
Oh,
Hey!
first roll,
Oh my
first
God, yeah.
roll,
This is only like
first
my
roll.
third or fourth roll ever.
She's
Well-
wearing Louboutins.
This is going to be for Poppy
Okay.
to see if you can be doing this discreetly. For Kate, you get to roll an opposing roll. And we're just going to treat this as a simple who gets more successes.
Got it.
So for Poppy, you're going to be rolling... Oh, actually, there's a good argument that can be made for a few things here. Your stealth.
Mhm.
Because you're already seeing it, so you're not looking for, well, looking. This is more the,
Yeah.
can you hide that you're looking?
Right.
So, in your mind, is this more dexterity-based stealth? Is this more manipulation? That you're trying to manipulate with your body language to suggest that you're not looking in that way when you really are?
It's definitely more manipulation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's however many dice you have in manipulation. Uh-oh. Who would we lose?
Oh,
Artem,
no.
don't turn your
Artem.
camera off. Don't turn your camera off. Turn your camera back on.
We do. We become out of whack. We
Oh,
turn into
no.
Nosferatu.
I'm gonna
It's
It's not
message
so
him.
bad.
Mm.
Oh my gosh,
gonna
I'm
message
I'm
about
gonna
him.
use
to become
this
so
very
derpy.
brief interlude to toss 2 controllers at Greg.
Go
Oh.
for it.
Well, as we're modern art.
Mm.
I love it.
Or you're at least tiling everything into some semblance of order, or
I'm working on that right now.
Baby,
Okay.
come back.
Good.
A good moment to hydrate, get a snacky snack, bother a cat, pet a dog, take a lap, do a push-up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, it's also the moment.
Hmm.
The moment he comes back, I'll have to redo it.
Yeah.
Yes, Winter Cameron, it's totally that vibe. We're in one of those puzzles where you can't
Absolutely.
remove the pieces, you just have to
You
kind of
just have
like
to
swish
shuffle
them
them.
Yeah,
around.
this is actually the game.
There he is.
There we go.
Huzzah!
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Just you can go off. Just don't turn off your camera because it messes
Gotcha.
with the whole stream.
Sorry about
All good.
Okay, so dice. For those of you who are new to this system, we don't use d20s, we use d10s. So for Kate,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be rolling perception and alertness, and both of you are rolling difficulty of 6. So anything that is a 6 or higher is a success. And let me know if you get any 1s.
2 successes.
2 successes. You didn't get any 1s?
Nope.
Did you get any 10s?
No.
Okay, so that's 2.
6 successes, but 2 1s.
Okay,
Oh
so
my
down to
God.
4. Were any of them 10s?
No.
Okay. They would have subtracted from the 10s, but good to know.
Mm-hmm.
So you are able to hide. So you are itemizing her personal catalog.
Yeah.
A
And I definitely want to note if she has like a bag, like in the briefcase, if there's like an outer pocket on it. If I see that, just in case.
I wouldn't think so. It's pretty like minimalist.
Okay. Does your blazer have pockets?
Not that you can see.
I'll figure it out.
Now, I imagine that Miss Fulton is the kind of individual that is very particular about what she's carrying on her and when
Mm-hmm.
and where. So I think Poppy would have caught that vibe as well. Now, this isn't to say that you can't do a thing,
Mm-hmm.
but that this is more than likely the kind of person that would notice. More importantly, while it was never expressly stated as such, some people might interpret the action you might be considering as a form of violence.
But you are not thinking of the action that I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm. Or am I?
I got post-its.
Mm-hmm.
I got things to say.
All right. Just putting that out there.
Mhm.
Now, one little final bit before we go into our break. As the conversation ebbs and flows and you begin to look towards the little raised platform again, you see a man that's been sitting there this entire time. A man with a bestial feature of a bat-like nose, rough, lavender gray skin and pointed ears, spiky, black, almost bristly hair, forming into a Shenandoah or what's often called a Lincoln beard to frame a grim expression. Red glowing eyes from this distance makes it difficult to discern where he's looking at any given moment. Perhaps he's fully engaging in the conversations he seems to be having right now, the little petitions he's seemingly hearing. Perhaps he's watching you. For Artem, you can't help but be reminded of the eyes that you saw on the drive here. Though those were yellow, these are very glaringly red. But it's hard to say where he's looking. Perhaps for some of you, the real standout is this monstrous presentation wearing an immaculate suit, waistcoat, and a pressed white shirt buttoned all the way up. If you'd like to react to that.
Based on the 3 names I was given and
Mhm.
how he's reacting and interacting with the crowd, would I be able to make an educated guess as to who he could be?
You would.
All right,
Is that something you share, something you keep to yourself?
I'm gonna keep it to myself.
You want to send me your supposition?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You want it in Discord or Zoom?
Discord, please.
Now, you said bat nose and pointed ears. This
Mhm.
sounds like an obvious nos, but is that what you were implying, or more just he has
More
those similar
animalistic.
features? Okay.
So bestial, not ravaged by, well, whatever made you.
Life and death. Heard.
Do any of you have any thoughts or reactions to this?
Try not to stare.
Anyone else? No? Okay.
I'm just watching closely.
Mm-hmm.
Cora's gonna lean over towards Max and say, "You said you've done a few introductions. Are there any do's or don'ts?"
Yeah. Apparently, no matter how punchable the face is, you're not supposed to punch it.
I don't think I'm in any danger of that. But noted.
Hmm. When Cora looks in that direction, for a moment, you do not see what everyone else sees. The same clothing, same posture and presentation, same facial hairstyle. But you see a man, not the beast in a suit. But when you blink, or when you look to see if anyone else catches, you see what everyone else sees again.
Cora is gonna shuffle again in her seat.
Mm.
Take a deep breath.
You all right, Cora?
New situation. Jitters. You seem at home, though.
It's not
Haven't
my
moved a
first
muscle.
Elysium.
Is it? Sorry.
Let's give them just a second to go back and forth to that.
You'll be fine. Nothing to worry about.
No specific advice?
Be confident.
Right.
Pay attention, listen, and you'll pick up on a lot.
Now that I'm used to doing.
Very quickly. Poppy.
Mm-hmm.
Roll me Dex and Stealth.
Okay.
We're going to go with the DC of 7.
Graham.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
You're
no.
all failures.
Did you... Okay, I have to ask this question.
Yeah.
Are they all just failures? Or do you have any ones?
I have The thing is, I got the VTM dice that don't have the
The skull,
The
I think, is a
thing.
1.
Oh, no skulls, no skulls. We're good.
Okay, so this is just a failure and not a botch.
Mm-hmm.
Big money, no
Okay.
whammies.
We're gonna talk about getting you some different dice then, though, because those are a little jank.
I will move to the just normal D10s
Yeah.
then. Yeah. I have those too. I just wanted to.
Because they don't really work that smoothly with this system. So
Yeah. It's okay. I have D10s. We're gonna use those instead next time. But for the story, let's mess this up.
So luckily it's not a botch, or else this would go very, very differently.
Mm-hmm.
So while Kate is briefly distracted in the conversation,
Mm-hmm.
what were you going to do?
I was gonna go and look and see if there was like art in the room, and on the way, just deposit a pink floral post-it note somewhere on Kate's person that seemed inconspicuous.
Mm. Okay. I would say that you just never find a good angle of attack.
Mm.
You've made your little post-it note, folded up, but for whatever reason, you just cannot see when she's distracted enough. You cannot find the right pocket at the right moment. And you are simply left holding it in your hand
Mhm.
longer and longer than you intended.
Yeah. Got it.
And so eventually you just put it back in your pocket.
Mhm.
Before we get into our next chapter of this, I think now would be a good time to take a short break.
Aw.
I did say a short break. We'll be back in a few minutes, folks. Get your drinks. Oh, I'm sorry, refreshments. Your blood bags are refillable now. We'll see you soon.
We're here.
Welcome back. We resume with this quiet interlude in the Elysium of Savannah as they are chattering and making little observations and making a little attempts at planting things on each other.
Haha.
Huh.
It's fine.
I did say attempt. There are some things that a few of you specifically would notice more than anything else. Poppy and Kate, you'd be very keen to notice the types of individuals that are not part of the social scene. The turtleneck and suit jacket type, the earbud, or even a weapon. And given that you are not allowed weapons or violence, these are clearly the means by which to enforce that rule. Looking at exits, looking at people. But there is a general air of not so much complacency as much as they know the room, they know the people, they know where to look. They know what situation is not a situation. So far, there hasn't been anything more interesting than the lot of you arriving simultaneously. There was
If I were to kind of look around at these individuals, about how many would be in a space like this?
It's difficult to discern because there is a good amount of motion from them. They're not standing still for too long. And they do kind of blend in with each other and with the crowds. And it's on more than one level. Because where you are is sort of like a large, sort of open below room. You don't know where the stairs are, but there are some that clearly lead to an upper section that rings around the area where other conversations, little mini courts are being held. For Kate, this would be a very familiar visual. Perhaps even comforting in that familiarity that you're not so far removed from the things that you know. For Tabby, strangely, you know some of this more than the others. What Elysium looks like, how it can act, what the rules are, how people comport themselves, all the little announcements, pomp, and circumstances in parlor games that they play with one another. For Artem, all of this is excruciatingly new. So tell me, how much sensory overload are you experiencing right now? All the people, all the noise, all the little clinking glasses, sounds of other people, maybe not breathing, because vampires don't breathe in the traditional sense, but they do have to take in air in order to speak.
Yeah, this is way too many people, way too close for him. Is there perhaps a role associated with this?
No, it's just trying to get into the headspaces a little bit.
Yeah, he wants out of here as soon as he can possibly get out.
Is he in any way fidgeting?
No, but he's looking towards the exit. He was looking for windows. Now he's looking for ways out.
Kate.
Based on where and who security's looking at, based on how the social circles are operating and interacting with each other, would I be able to pick up on someone I might think could be the prince yet?
Not yet. This seems more designed for the Elysium itself rather than someone's personal security, which you would recognize more than anyone else what that looks like. For Max, how much of this is a new experience for you so far?
I think this might be the first time that he's encountered this many new folks at once. And usually he doesn't have to be in close proximity, especially if they don't have the information he needs at the time. So he does like start to get up and start to pace around, but tries to make it look like look in a way that it's like I'm controlling the place and not I have a lot of nervous energy and need to get it out right now.
He's sort of stalking the roost of his very limited space that he's allowed to be in.
Exactly. Being very careful not to like push the boundary of like, hey, no, you're to go back in your little circle.
Come back to the kids' table.
Yeah.
Now, I would everyone to have a chance to react to that if they want to. But first, how is Cora feeling about this entire place? What she's seen and what she's seen.
Well, there's a couple of different reactions then. Functions like this weren't really for her. She met with important people, people with money, but it was smaller settings. This is new. This is a little different. And she can't help but wonder how it would have gone back home, since that opportunity was not afforded to her for her own safety or for other reasons. But in terms of what else she's seen, the frequency is disconcerting to her. She thought maybe getting farther away would help slow things down, but so far it doesn't feel like that. She's trying to keep it together, but these little human ticks that she's still carrying, showing her unease, that deep breath she took earlier, she finds herself falling back on them.
Does anyone else want to react to, well, Max running around or anything in particular?
Poppy will try to like make eye contact. She's trying so hard. Make eye contact with anyone who like sees him moving around and just kind of try to share a quizzical look with anyone.
Cora will acknowledge
Okay,
Poppy.
great. Great. Poppy's heart grows 3 sizes that day.
Max, you're making me a little bit nervous there. As far as I understand it, we don't need to use the restroom anymore, so I don't think you need to.
The bathroom dance. Yes.
That's funny. Excuse me if I'm just scoping out who else is here and making sure that we're not being led into some sort of trap.
Is there a reason we should be concerned?
I don't know. Experienced one, is there a reason we should be concerned?
Be a poor breach of hospitality if this was a trap.
True. And this is Savannah. They do take it very seriously around here.
You think something will happen? She's clearly like not looking at anyone but Max with that question.
Max makes a show of like looking around. He goes, "No, I guess not." And just kind of sits down in the chair trying to look like he's leaning back, but there's ever this subtle like shake of one of the legs that's just a little bit too restless.
I'm sure it'll be fine. I could call a waiter over.
Nah, thanks. Just to offer up what much of the other kindred have been like thinking and experiencing in this moment. Tabby is very nervous for a number of reasons, but she is trying very hard to not appear as nervous as she is. The idea that Max brought to her head did immediately send a jolt through her inactive nerves, and she tries to settle back down. She seems to be also looking throughout the crowd for someone she wouldn't know what they look like, but is also seemingly looking for, not like observing people, but trying to pick someone out, but is very much every so often like extending out of her seat and then just recoiling back into it.
Mm.
Tabby, are you expecting someone?
Expecting? No. Hoping to talk to someone after we've been introduced. Hopefully that's soon.
Where are you from, Tabby?
Kentucky? Louisville?
Oh, right, you said that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. Uh, I've I've been to a few Elysiums. They're fine. Uh, yeah, everything. Yeah, we're fine. We're good. Just looking for someone.
It does seem like we're all trying to find our footing, but that's natural, right?
Hard to know what to expect in a new place, especially if you're just here by yourself.
Right. So who was your friend?
Oh, yeah, that's my friend Nico. Well, I guess we're more acquaintances than friends, but I'm sure we'll be close friends once I get settled in here. But he and I met at this event in Las Vegas, and we had a mutual acquaintance, and he introduced us, and it was, we just kind of got along. He's a terribly fashionable individual, kind of stands out in a crowd, which I appreciate.
Las Vegas, so you've done a lot of traveling then.
Oh, yes, yes. I've always had kind of a wandering spirit. But yeah, Las Vegas was just, there's nothing quite like it. Quite beautiful. That's where I fed for the first time.
That's something, isn't it? You know, I'm still not quite used to the feeling, but
Mm,
it's nice. It's really nice.
yeah, very special.
Are you all visiting here, or
I'm hoping to settle in here a little bit and kind of see what Savannah has to offer. I mean, the art scene here, because of, I mean, SCAD's just down the road. I'm very interested in just kind of seeing what's happening here, what people are making, and maybe, I don't know, maybe I can find a bit of my own artistic voice here. It'd be very exciting.
Oh, I think you'll have luck here. I did see something about them on the internet.
Oh, great. Should be good.
good luck to you?
Thanks. Thanks. What about
I'm
yourself? Are you passing through or?
Uh,
On that note, Kate would recognize this more than anyone else in the room. Though perhaps not from this side of it. There was a rolling forewake of motion as off to the side of the main hall. There is a shift in the crowd. People beginning to move as they get out of the way of a small approaching bubble. You can't quite see from here, see from where you are until a fairly plain-looking man with sharp features in a rustic wool-knit sweater approaches the bestial man of the platform. The gentleman monster stands to greet him, that grim expression seemingly turning to some semblance of warmth as the two shake hands and seem to be talking in some spirited fashion. They are swiftly joined by the keeper, who, after a few moments, doesn't point in your direction, but does angle his head to direct their attention over to you. The trio seem to confer briefly before there is a nod of collective understanding, and the man with the knitwear instead takes the seat on the platform, while the suited monster that previously occupied it stands with pocketed hands next to him. Now, before I go any further, do you want to react to that in some way?
I'll stand when he walks in.
Mm-hmm.
Max follows suit.
Ever the chameleon, Cora does so too.
Same.
Artem was already standing, but he'll at least turn over.
So he sits. Got it. Okay.
Do a backflip. Do a backflip.
He stands
Abby
on his
sleep.
hands.
Was that
Abby slowly rises.
Okay. Atherton calls out loudly, bringing the room to a gentle hush. If I may have your attention. All right, that's the wrong voice. If I may have your attention, first of all, thank you all so much for coming tonight. The company has been exemplary. Second, we have the unexpected fortune of having several newcomers with us, all needing to declare themselves. So it would be greatly appreciated to have a few moments of keeping the murmuring down to a minimum while we get through the requirements of formality. He gestures across the room to the lot of you. If you would all please join us.
Very confidently step forward.
Same.
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 And how?
And follow.
When you get to the platform, he says, without you actually standing on it, your backs are all to the crowd behind you, and you are made to face the prince as he sits just 2 feet higher on a completely normal chair. Not a throne, despite what his title might imply. The keeper says, "It is my esteemed pleasure to present to you Prince Everett Brooks of Chatham County." You see the prince rise from his seat, giving a polite nod to the gathered troop before him with his wrist clasped behind his back. The keeper resumes. Now, for those of you new to this, it is very straightforward. Just your name, your clan if you know it, your sire if you know that, and the reason you're in Savannah. The prince interjects. I understand there is a Ventru among you. Please, set the tone for your peers.
Kate will step forward, just like a half step. Oh,
One moment.
sorry.
No, you're good. Taking the initiative of what was intended, so that's fine. Above the table, we're going to streamline this a little bit. I'm going to give you your order that you're expected to go in. Kate, Cora, Artem, Tabby, Hoppy, and finally, Max. Please set the tone, Miss Fulton.
So Kate will step forward in the line. I'm Kate Fulton, Rentrue of Washington, D.C., child of Prince Anthony Vesper.
Before you even are able to continue in any way, there is a smattering of reaction to the name. But from a selection of people and not the entire room. Most notably, the prince. So you're Vespasian's child.
He's been going by Vesper lately, but yes.
Many of us change names over the years. Never quite changes who we are. The name and his lineage carries some weight. I hope you're able to shoulder it.
That is my goal.
So I know who your sire is, and while I has spoken with him personally. Please, share with us your reason for being here. Why should I permit you to stay?
I'm here for seasoning and to learn from a court that shepherded Savannah for nearly 200 years.
Praxis is not something that is easy to teach. It will take a long time to even grasp why that's difficult in the first place. But time is one of those things that are not limited if you're smart. But I have high expectations.
She'll give a deep nod and then step back.
Miss Violante.
Cora steps forward. Cora Violante, child of Essen, Seneschal of Frankfurt.
That too does get a small reaction. Both from the prince. He seems to at least understand who the big names are in the world. But the keeper seems to react to that as well. A few people in the crowd, again, selective, not the entire room. The keeper just gives a little arched eyebrow, but it's a pleasant surprise in his eyes, not revulsion or suspicion. Really? Essen, you say?
You know him.
Only by reputation. The old man has a bit of a legend around him.
He does have a certain air. He's a good man.
You do see not so much a sadness, as much as I'm not even going to have you roll for this, because you've also experienced a little bit of this yourself from your sire.
Mhm.
That solemn knowledge that another shoe is bound to drop at some point. And there's just this nod. So then, Ms. Violante, why are you in my fair city?
Essen and I came to the conclusion that it was time for me to set out on my own. I surveyed my options, but Savannah seemed like the most welcoming.
It has been a hub of all sorts since its inception, welcoming all types, provided, of course, they can acquiesce accordingly. Given your wild sire. And there is not laughter at that as much as almost this grim acknowledgement of formidable. That is the intention of the word wild. So why were you here? Your It's always dangerous when a Malkavian travels. They can bring chaos, portents, or just problems. Were you sent away or did you come here on your own?
Ultimately, the choice was mine.
Hmm. There's not suspicion on his face, more scrutiny, concern. And he says, or actually, sorry, the keeper says, my prince, I am well aware of Mr. Essen's past. I would be more than happy to vouch for this young lady. Oh, you look like you're about to respond.
If I may, I have my sire's spirit, but I am also a professional.
Hmm. And what is your vocation? Sorry, that was the prince accent. I don't know why I went to the other accent. It's gonna be
okay.
that kind of night.
It's a delightful accent.
I'm a driver and a businesswoman.
Ah. I'm sure you will find good company. There are all sorts of professional establishments and a burgeoning racing circuit. Perhaps we can accommodate. For now, I accept your presence and your status as neonate. Is there anything you want to add in there, or?
Just, she's always been told when she says thank you to any other vampires to not say it too early.
Hmm.
So in this case, she'll just nod politely, and look over to the keeper as well.
Mhm.
Since
He
you
gives a
spoke
very
up.
polite nod.
And then she'll step backwards.
You notice there's a little bit of a smile on his face. Sort of just almost pleased.
Cora's gonna smile a little bit too.
Artem steps forward. He can almost hear his heart beating, but tries not to let it show. Steps forward. Artem, the clan of the Nomads, child of. He pauses. Seems like he's trying to decide whether he can get away with not sharing this information, maybe even thinking about lying, but decides better on it and finishes wayward child of Zoya.
There's only one person in the room that reacts to that. It's the bestial man who was previously in the chair and then standing next to the prince. He steps forward, not in front of the prince, but much more into your eye line. You know the old woman of the woods.
Yes.
I have not heard of her in centuries.
She keeps to herself.
Nothing changes. Is she well?
Yes. I left her.
We.
There was another as well who is supposed to be here. But we had to leave her home. There was a danger she could not protect us from. But I think she will make it.
Where is your companion now?
I don't know.
The prince doesn't seem to interrupt him in any way as this man steps forward, standing more or less equal to him as he continues the questioning. Why are you here then?
Honestly, running from the danger. She told us, leave, find somewhere. Once it's safe, we can come back.
What was the danger?
There are creatures in her forest. They wear the skin of men. She seemed to have an understanding with them, whose territory was what, but there was a change, I think, in them, and they started testing the boundaries.
You see the bestial man just slowly nod a little bit. There's a grim sadness to it. Clearly, maybe understanding more than what's being said. He looks to the prince to sort of don't say anything, but they share a almost telepathic bond of two people who have known each other a very long time. And there's just this little nod between them. I should very much, the bestial man says, I should very much like to continue our conversation on the subject. Been some time since I've heard of her.
I would be happy to talk.
He shares another look with the prince, who then continues to address, taking over from the bestial man. I accept you as neonate within my domain. Though provisionally, under the Seneschal, Alden Burrell's supervision. He nods to the bestial man. You step back?
Yes.
Okay. Heavy, my dear.
My name's Tabitha Morn, childer of Angel. At least that's how I knew her. Pause to see if anyone reacts.
No one on that little platform seems to react. You do hear one or two little voices, but it's indistinct. It's just little murmurs. Some of the more distinct ones that you do hear are more, is the effective tone. And but there are some that sound a little more confirmational, but you don't know where they're coming from. Do you look? Or do you stay looking at the prints?
I think Tabby realizes that she had paused too long. She was lulled into the expectation of a renowned sire. And then kind of was like detached, looking away, listening, and then comes back to the prince.
Hmm. And so why are you in my city?
I'm here to be of service to you and your city, to be a cog in your brilliant machine that needs little and provides much.
Ms. Morn, I will only ask this once more. Why are you here?
Uh, Pardon me, uh, sir. Uh, the she wants to see if she is reading him properly. Uh, see what he actually knows. Is there any role for that?
He's not buying the cog and wheel speech.
Okay.
He's either heard it too many times or it's just hot bullshit and he knows it. There is
Abby,
an
clear.
implication of it doesn't matter what it is as long as it's the truth. That is the expectation.
Tabby kind of shaken from her short prepared speech.
Hmm.
Uh, quickly like looks down at the floor. Forgive me, sir. It it is the truth, but much like Artem, I'm uh, I w- I was sent here for danger, and the reason why I didn't say that was uh, in Savannah, someone talked about danger, and he was executed for it, and I didn't
You
want
mean
to.
Kentucky?
Thank you. What did I say?
You said Savannah.
Thank you. in in Kentucky, in Louisville, the prince had someone executed for talking about the thing that we were running from, and I wasn't sure if your policy was the same, sir.
Well, at least you're learning caution. But what was the danger?
Uh, th- th- the court was attacked.
You see the three men that were on that platform start to share some looks, and there's some muttering. And it's not disbelief as much as conferral. And Alden, the bestial man, shouts the name Teague. And a darker skinned man in a sort of wide brimmed hat walks closer to through the crowd up to the platform. Yes, sir. What do you know about an attack in, you said Louisville?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Before he looks back to Teague, he goes, attacked by who?
Kindred, sir.
More specific.
The Sabbat.
That sends a little trickle of a wave of conversation throughout the entire room. It's not panic that you're hearing, but as much as concern. You see or hear some people almost making contingency plans. For a moment, for a small moment, you might understand why your old prince would kill someone for creating that kind of panic. But this prince takes over from Alden. Teague, is this something you've heard about? Unconfirmed reports of all sorts of violence or collapse. It was unclear exactly who did what and when, only that Louisville is no longer a solidified ivory tower. But news is scarce and unconfirmed. From what I was hearing, Archons were going to be sending in a few coteries. But I apologize. There's not much information that tends to come out of those until it's all over and done with. Very good. Thank you, Tig. He nods and he kind of walks away, picking his guitar back up by the neck that he had put down earlier. The prince and the seneschal they turn their back for a moment to have very tense, very quiet, very private conversation. There's a few moments of this until a hand on seneschal's back and some sort of agreement and understanding is reached. The prince looks to you, Tabby. Savannah, the entirety of it, can only express sympathy for the catastrophic loss that you may be experiencing.
Thank you, sir.
Until such time as we understand the situation better, until such time that we find out exactly who you are, that you are not yourself, Sabat. Though signs point otherwise. It will be shown to your kind. For the time being, you are recognized as Neonate within Savannah.
Thank you, sir.
When we learn more, we will share what is not actionable. Is there any individuals that you would like to hear about?
My sire, sir. It was very rushed escape. And I would like to know if she's okay.
I make no promises. One kindred in a large city. Difficult to ever prove a negative. When one of your kind desires to be hidden, they stay that way. And hidden can look very much like death. This is not to sour your mood, only to set expectation. Very good.
Puppy will step up next. Say, I am Poppy Stewart of Stores, Connecticut, Toreador. And she like pauses for a moment and takes like a little breath. Sire was Richard LeBlanc.
You hear one sharp sound from the back of the room. A familiar voice going, "Ah!"
God damn it. Poppy tries to maintain composure. I'm here to learn the hues and expressions of the seasons here in Savannah and to find community and inspiration in community. I would like to build or rebuild a life here, and it seems to be just devastatingly beautiful.
Such sweet words. I should very much like to believe them.
I mean them.
I'm sure you do. However, I have scads of Toreador running around this city.
Yeah.
Why should I add to their number instead of any other? Why continue to unbalance those scales?
Well, I am a curator of art, a designer, somebody that can take things that maybe seem grotesque, sharp and pointy, terrible, painful, and transmute them into something else. And that's what I want my legacy to be. And I think Savannah is the place to do that. And the community you've built here seems to support that kind of transformative energy.
Up the table. While obviously I know the answer to all these questions.
Mm-hmm.
And how there can be truth, lie, and the gray in between. How much of this is sincerity?
It's all sincere.
Okay.
It's all she has.
As she's been relaying this, there's been this soft little burgeoning wake in the crowd. Not quite the way of a princely enter of the room, but a familiar, very fashionably suited gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
With that dark hair with a skunk bleach stripe through it. My prince, if it pleases, Miss Stewart here could work with me in my shop. I would very much enjoy the help. Debutante season is right around the corner, and, well, it gets a bit busy there. I can, of course, vouch for her in that time. The prince looks over at Nico. So you would shoulder another one of your own. To an extent, her sins may be yours if you are going to vouch for her this openly. Is that something you're willing to do, Mr. Rausch? Yes, my prince. I think Miss Stewart is, perhaps more promising than she may seem. A diamond in the rough. And as he says that, that little sparkle of the gem in his ear almost seems to sparkle just at you.
Mm-hmm.
And you know he was the singular voice in the back of the room a moment ago.
Yeah.
Mm. And the thing is, the rest of the room knows it too.
Yeah.
Ah. Very well, Mr. Roush. Miss Stewart. I conditionally recognize your status as neonate within Savannah, provided I get no worrying responses from Mr. Roush here.
Thank you.
Mm. And as she steps back, pray tell who steps forward.
Max Rosenthal. Sire is Spike.
There is zero recognition. Not even contempt or derision or confusion. It's just another name. In the same way that with Angel, it was just, huh.
I'm here because I'm looking for him.
I see him. What makes you think he's in this city?
I know he's in this fucking city. And so I'm here to find him. This is the 4th Elysium I've been to. And I'm tired of running after him.
If this is the 4th, what makes you so certain he's here? And given everything that you've just been through in the last few moments, this is the expectation of those showing up. And you, I hope, would know what happens when someone is not announced, if they do not have my blessing to exist in this city.
Then why are you hiding him?
You see the prince and the seneschal share this look like a little bit like this fucking guy. That's your one. This is a house of civility. You have an accusation. You better have the means to back it up. And I suggest you do so now.
Max steps forward another step. I will find out where he is. And I better not have people standing in my way if that happens. Your Majesty.
Is that it? Oh, you're posturing. Is that it? You think you're going to walk in here, puff up your chest, and I'm just going to kowtow to you? Whatever it is you have, put it on the table now.
Max starts to turn away, and the rest of you, when you look back, as he unfolds his arms, you'll see that he has brass knuckles. And he makes a turn. It's all right then. and he runs up and goes for a right hook.
Are you sure?
So, okay, that's what we're doing. He is a non-moving target.
So 1.
I'm not even going to make you roll.
Great.
He's unmoving. He is a wide enough target in the sense that he's right fucking in front of you. Your little knuckle dusters. You connect instantly. A little bit of the potence behind a Bruja's hit, the celerity behind it. You know that if you were to hit a person, a regular human being with this force, it'd be like running them through a wood chipper as the impact would send scattered viscera behind them into the wall. That has been your experience. You were holding back in that fight earlier with the other Bruja. And you still were popping ribs, dislocating, rearranging a person by simply a little pop. So tell me, in this moment, how much force are you putting into this hit? Are you dialing it back? Or are you really trying to make a fucking statement?
I'm making a fucking statement.
Okay. Every ounce of your strength that you know that you could turn even some quite prodigious kindred into mist on impact. Doesn't even make this man budge. Have you ever heard the expression no sell? Unlike the Terminator, his head doesn't even turn from the impact. There is no indentation in his cheek. He does not stagger. He does not budge. He didn't even blink. He didn't even prepare himself. He just allowed you to step in. And you are eye to eye. As you were like a toddler punching marble to no effect. So I need you to tell me, Smuggles.
Yeah?
What is going through Max's head right now? His mind.
It's something along the lines of fuck, shit, fuck, oh no. Just instant regret in the face. Because that was all of it.
Mm-hmm. I'm so sorry. What is actually going through Max's mind right now is a 45 caliber hollow point as his final thoughts are scattered along the floor. His hopes and dreams, childhood memories, painting the wall as he instantly drops to the ground in a wet, soggy husk. A woman that none of you clocked earlier, dressed the same as all the security guards, puts a boot between your shoulder blades, points a gun down and empties the magazine into the back of your head. Magazine empty, magazine reload in that instant John Wick sort of fashion. And continues to do the same. Within seconds, there is no head to speak of. Everything above a gurgling neck stump no longer exists.
So am I incapacitated or
And on that note, we will end for tonight.
What?
Wow.
To torpor with you. Oh wait.
Whoa.
A torpor, sweetie.
Whoa.
I play 2 sessions in Elysium and I get brain splattered on me in both.
Oh
You're a
no.
cream blazer.
Dry cleaning. Dry cleaning.
You're never
serious.
getting that out.
Oh my god.
Tabby
My new
already had just
tracksuit.
stains all over
Okay,
her.
okay. Thank you, everyone else, for tuning in, for sticking around, for letting me get a long-standing project off my chest.
And the project was killing smuggles.
Oh, I've done that before.
Ah,
I want you all to consider something. Anyone that knows me knows that I am a massive Star Trek fan. I will always start a story with a red shirt.
Huh.
I
ugh,
wrote that 2 years ago, and then when I started talking to Sam,
God.
You're like that guy? Red shirt for sure.
hmm,
Oh my god.
so
None of those sessions were
Recessions.
actually sessions for Max.
Oh no. It was kayfabe.
You know,
Well done.
okay.
during that conversation, I was like, wait, he's a guest.
Was.
Was keyword.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you at D&D on Tuesday and episode 2 of Savannah by Night on Wednesday. Have a good night.